The majority of people are forced to think about one and the same thing all their life. If you separate out the various thoughts of one typical person living in your era into separate time intervals, and then combine the identical thoughts, you will determine the main thought of the human community of your era. Tell me, what would you say is the average human lifespan?
The typical lifespan is 80 years.
The visible learning process lasts about 18 years, and all those years the technocratic world tries to impress the young with its significance. During the remaining 62 years we can assume that the person himself can determine the direction in which his thinking works. Every day man sleeps and relaxes for a certain period. We have taken for our basis 62 years of a person's life, multiplied by 8 hours a day, accounting for leap years. We get man sleeping 181,160 hours of his life. His daily 8-hour sleep comes out to 21 years of unbroken sleep. Take 21 years out of the 62 years of life and we get 41 years of wakefulness. During wakefulness, most people engage in food preparation. How much time do you think a person spends on preparing and ingesting food?
2.5 hours a day per person.
In fact, it is more. But let us take your number, just 2.5 hours a day, multiply that by the number of days lived, and we get 56,612.5 hours, or 2,359 days, or 6 years. Let us subtract that from 41 years, and we are left with 35 years. In order to acquire food, clothing and housing, the person living in the technocratic world has to fulfill one of the functions essential to this world. He has to work. I want to draw your attention, Vladimir, to the fact that man has to work, to engage in some kind of occupation, not because he likes it so much, but for the benefit of the technocratic world. Otherwise man is deprived of what is vitally important for him. How much time are most people forced to spend on work daily?
In our country 8, and on the commute back and forth he spends another hour or 2, but he has 2 days off per week.
Altogether, in 30 years of so-called labor activity, he works for 10 years for someone else, or rather, for the technocratic world. So now we have to delete these 10 years from his 35 years of life, which leaves 25. What else does man do every day throughout his life?
He watches television.
How much time daily?
At least 3 hours.
These 3 hours come out to 8 years of continuous sitting in front of a television screen. Let us subtract them from the remaining 25 and we get 17. But even this time is still not free for activities inherent to man alone. Human thought is inert. It cannot switch abruptly from one thing to another. Thought analyzes information taken in for a while. In total, the average statistical person spends just 15 to 20 minutes in his entire life thinking about the universe. Some do not think about it even once. Some think about it for several years. Each can determine that for himself by analyzing the years he has lived. Each person is individual. He is more important than all the galaxies put together because he is capable of creating them. But each person is a small part of the human community, which on the whole can be viewed as a single organism, a unified essence. Once it falls into the trap of technocratic dependence, the great essence of the universe closes in on itself, loses true freedom, becomes dependent, activates the mechanism of self-destruction. In the settlements of the future, people live a different way, distinct from the usual. Their thinking is free and humane. It merges into a single aspiration, and it leads the human community out of its impasse. The universe will soon see new birth and joint creation. Human thought is materializing the wonderful new planet.